Please be advised.
Spoiler alert episode. Spoiler.
Please be advised. Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ant-Man Spoiler Ep.
35.
Episode 35. We have spoiled 35 movies.
Yes.
So, as we always say, this is a spoiler ep. If you're new to this, we are going to go into all the details, or many of the details of this film, including the ending. So if you have not seen it and don't want it ruined for you, stop listening to this right now. Stop being dumb.
And also, we'd like to welcome back our guest, Andy Wood.
Andy
from
Wood.
Science Podcast.
Hello. Probably Science, which will be in the Los Angeles Podcast Festival this year.
And Andy not as angry about seeing this movie.
Not so
bad.
No, we made him see Pixels, which if you listen to episode 279, you can hear him talk about why that movie was a disaster.
Yeah. From title to finish.
Voxels!
We'll get some tech specs on the title mistakes.
Well, I'll get technical. Yeah. I'll get technical on Ant-Man too.
Oh,
be fair.
sweet.
Okay.
Sweet. But first, we have a new sponsor. We have a sponsored spoiler ep, guys.
Nice. And this is a new sponsor, and it's a very interesting sponsor, and I'm really kind of excited about it because this is another one of those sponsors where they come on board and, you know, they give us accounts, and they realize one of the ways they'll make money is because the host will be buying stuff from the
It's
from their
so
website.
smart. It's touchofmodern.com.
Yes.
Which is basically just like a male brand. I don't know, like it's their website is sort of has all this stuff that men would want: clothing, design, watches.
Think of it like a sharper image but cooler.
Yeah, it is. It's like a male lifestyle, but it's
right.
What they do is they do really cool stuff. They find
male lifestyle, basically products, but for everything, like
right.
Yeah.
There's artwork. There's cool like
clothing.
I was looking at they have like Batman artwork, you know, and the thing and superhero artwork that's cool about it is they find stuff. They find you know, these companies and they get limited runs of stuff. So everything is pretty much on at least 40 to 50% off. And some of it comes into the 70 and 80% range.
Right.
Like I just bought this is the craziest thing. I bought a they had eco-friendly, vegan, wood-based shoe insoles.
Okay.
That you can eat.
That you can. They're. I'm not making this up. I just bought them, and they keep their cedar, so they keep your shoes smelling good. Mm-hmm. And because I put insoles in my shoes because I'm especially when I'm doing stand up or working out or whatever. And
normally your feet aren't vegan.
They're not vegan. They're not vegan feet. But those gel ones and stuff, they're nice, they're comfortable, but there's no way those are good for the environment.
Right.
There's absolutely no way. So these are, which I was like, oh, hippie product, I'm in.
Right.
And it was like 3 of them for $30, $40. The regular insoles are $15, $20 a throw. Mm-hmm. And of course, these are on sale. They've got a really cool return policy. You can return it within 7 days of it arriving at your place, and return postage is free. And it's really cool stuff. Like, and
the Star Wars art was really cool. I'm probably going to get one of those for sure. But what I love too is it's like everything from like, you know, chargers for your devices to clothing to like Star Wars art. And then I found something I'm probably going to get. It's a toaster, but it actually, you can see inside it. Like it has like glass size. You can see your toast actually toasting because I know the kids are going to love that if they can actually see it toasting. But this really made me laugh. Some of the products have videos on them. And you think, oh, well, if there's a toaster video, that's probably 10, 20 seconds at most. If you're going to have a video about your toaster, it's 2.5 minutes long. It's the Lawrence of Arabia of toaster videos. It's great. So if you actually really want to get into the beginning and middle end of your toaster story, you can check it out. But I'm definitely going to buy it because I just love the idea that you can actually watch your toast and bagel and toast, and the kids are going to like love it. So I'm going to get that.
And the cool thing is there's no like they want you to sign up, but it's free.
Yeah, there's no subscription fee or anything, and they rotate the products a lot. Like if you if you don't get something right away, sometimes it's gone, and you gotta but they rotate stuff. I think it's like almost every day. day. There's new stuff.
And they've got high-end stuff, man. They got some
Yeah.
Breitling watches. These are like $9,000 watches that they have on sale for $4,500. I was like, damn. Like they got really, really cool stuff. It's sort of anything. I mean, there's Star Wars art, there's watches, there's
stuff for us, and there's stuff for millionaires.
yeah, there's
This is cool shit. I'm looking at the site for the first time. You guys have sold me on it.
well.
That's a pretty awesome like cable bracelet thing
Here's
and
what I'm going to
wallets.
do, Andy. I'm going to email you a thing because once you sign up, if you get every friend you get to sign up, you get $20 in your account.
Oh, sweet.
Right.
So, Andy, don't sign up until I send you my code so I can get $20.
Oh, these are cool, like Banksy-ish.
Yeah, but there's a lot of
pieces.
Banksy stuff too.
Or maybe not Banksy-ish. Maybe they actually are Banksy. Yeah.
No, they are Banksy's. Yeah.
It's really, and they've got like in addition to really expensive rich person watches, they also have nice watches that are normally $200 watches that are on sale for like $80 or something
Right.
like that. So they got cool stuff. So
Very cool.
Like Batman Under Arrest
dude,
painting.
I love that painting. I have to buy some of those things. So yeah, go to touchofmodern.com, you guys, and there's no coupon code or anything. Just go check it out, and then if you sign it and sign up,
Yeah, there's no coupon code. There's no landing page. Just go to touchofmodern.com, sign up, and you'll enjoy what they have, especially because there's something for everyone there. That's what I really like about it. It's really cool stuff.
Geodesic hammock beds, guys.
Right.
yes, everything you want, and everything's on sale.
Yes.
Everything's a discount.
So check it out. So, all right, let's get into it. Ant-Man. Now, this is an interesting movie that Graham and I actually split a little bit on. I enjoyed it a little bit more than him, but I wanted to get your opinion on it, Andy. But I do want to say right off the bat, if you sat through it all the way and you got to the ending and then also all of the teasers and trailers, one of the things that we've talked about is the tone of the movie is also very light. It's more of a comedy,
light, yeah.
and it's and it's really a family-friendly film. Like I was harking back to the old days of in fact, the director has also directed a Herbie movie,
Oh, okay.
a made-for-TV Herbie
it seems
movie.
very Herbie-ish when you say that. Yeah.
And so you could see that that's what they were going for. However, the final stinger at the end, because I want to bring this up right away, is for Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Which arguably is one of the darkest Marvel movies that they have made.
It was so intriguing that they would
So-
use that one because as I said, the problem why I didn't like this movie that much, and I didn't hate it. It was like I said, the joke I made was more like a Spy Kids movie.
Right.
But the fact that they chose that button or whatever
Yeah.
is and this is gearing up to the war with Iron Man.
This is Civil
That's
War,
what
yeah.
That's what they were teasing.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be it's creating a problem with another director to put you have these darker characters in now with Ant-Man, and the only way you're really going to be able to navigate it is Ant-Man's going to be the comic relief guy in these darker films. And then when he does his solo movies, they're going to be these lighter, more family kind of comedies. But is that sustainable? Is that going to work? It's going to be a bit of a balancing act.
And is he just going to be another Captain America where his superpower is just managerial duties? Supervision is my superpower, kind of.
Right.
Is that what you can just lead? That's kind of what Captain America's role is. Yeah, really. He's a good middle manager. This guy manages ants, and Captain America manages the Avengers.
And one of the things I really did like about it, I like we started talking about the tone and stuff. I thought it was good, and I thought it was a good direction for the Marvel movies. I'm just not sure where its place in the universe is going to be.
I didn't like the ending in terms of him and Evangeline Lilly. Now they love each other and everything works out because they spent so much time in the movie of her I don't like him, he's dumb and he's the worst, and why are we behind this? I thought there was so much time wasted on that then this
you didn't have to hit every movie trope. I agree. You could have twisted that a little bit.
They didn't show them developing. They showed them fighting, practice fighting. They didn't ever show them falling for each other in any
There's one scene where he's taking his shirt off and he's ripped, but he's ripped for Paul Rudd.
Right.
He's not Chris Evans ripped. He's Paul Rudd ripped. So it's
maybe keep your shirt on. Not every superhero has to have their shirt off.
Yeah. Isn't that supposed to be the whole difference? Is you're not a traditional superhero. You're wearing kind of a baggy motorcycle suit compared to the skin tight.
Right, and you get small. You don't have to be giant, twerked out.
I like the idea that he was the small time thief, and I loved all that stuff. What that never really got explored, maybe it will in another movie, is he's also this tech genius.
Right.
That we never really kind of saw that.
That was another problem I had. Was it just he got into prison because he was doing this sort
This
of
kind of Robin Hoodie,
Robin
thing.
Hood
Yeah.
hacking thing, but then he's hanging out with a band of, I mean,
of traditional thieves, and
traditional
not
thieves.
Of, like, yeah, you're right.
and Michael
And not the
Pena
most-
is funny in it. He gets
He's
some
always funny. Yeah.
He's always
Yeah.
funny. And he's a really good character actor, and I love watching him in stuff. But then I was like, well, why is this tech guy just with
a
these
good point.
clowns? Like, oh, I can't find a job. Yeah, you could. If you're tech savvy, you're trying to tell me where was he? San Francisco?
Yeah.
Uh,
The NSA would hire you.
Yeah.
yes, there's a startup that doesn't care you have a criminal
Right,
record.
Yes.
right.
You don't have to go to very
Baskin-Robbins.
blatant, product placement of Baskin Robbins.
But worth it for the cameos by Johnny Pemberton and Greg Turkington, who fans may know as Neil Hamburger. That was
Right.
awesome. Like
Yeah.
seeing Neil Hamburger as his manager, like that's
And they did some funny jokes with Baskin and Robbins, like,
Yeah.
and how like we got to
Something
fire
hot.
you now.
So-
Yeah,
oh, that,
yeah,
yeah, also,
yeah.
I
So
think that's awesome. I mean, you're fired,
Yeah.
but that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Like that was cool.
So now the interesting thing is to see also how like it's such a balancing act between like making these movies their own thing and also balancing it with all the stuff that has to be shoehorned in with the Marvel universe. And I will say, I'll give Marvel a lot of credit. They've done a really great job with that so far.
Yeah.
So if they can kind of keep to the formula that they've kind of made and don't go too far in that, like, well, no, this movie has to fit this has to fit this. We have to add this character here and this character there. Like, we don't, I know the Wasp is a big character in the Avengers, but I don't, do we need another, introduction at the end of Evangeline Lilly becoming
she's
the
gonna
Wasp?
become
She's
the
going to
next
become the
generation.
Wasp. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
But, and you also always have that, that kind of like, forbidden zone or whatever you have, like that, it's like that everyone kind of, it's a danger. You don't want to go into there. And then always, now I have to go into there
Yeah,
at the,
yeah.
I'm shrinking so small. I'm into the forbidden shrink zone or whatever they
Right.
called it. And no one's ever gotten back from there. I'm like, no, well, he'll get back from there. And that's the one time he actually used his tech knowledge to actually get back.
Yeah.
And I loved what they did at the end. I loved the giant Thomas the Train and the giant ant.
That
I
shit
thought-
was hilarious.
I thought that
Those
was great.
jokes.
Yeah.
hilarious. Yeah.
And the fun, the train actually hitting, the bad guy, and I thought Yellow Jacket. I thought it was all that stuff was just such a great twist on the Marvel kind of formula of the
Yeah.
big giant battles and stuff. I thought that was great, and you could see like, as much as I enjoyed this movie, you're always going to wonder what would Edgar Wright's version look like.
Well, he co-wrote it, but you mean if he directed it?
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Yeah.
I think Edgar Wright. I mean, that train scene where he's in the action and it's big train, bum bum bum,
Yeah.
and then they pull back to real size and this little plastic train goes kink
Yeah.
and just like falls over. They did it a couple of times, which I thought was funny. That I loved. I really loved John Slarty as Howard Stark.
That's who that. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I didn't even realize. Okay.
Yeah, in the beginning of the movie, they're like,
That's
"Oh,
who that
that's
is.
Stark's dad. He's
Right.
the one who started Stark Industries." And to cast John Slarty, I think that's great because, of course, John Slarty, Roger from Mad Men, would be. He taught
Yeah.
Tony Stark how to be this pimpy playboy who's it was such a nice connection to the Tony Stark of the beginning of the first Iron Man.
Now, wasn't
Yeah.
this they recast that role, didn't they? Like, wasn't that played by a different actor in the first Avenger,
I was gonna
Captain
say
America?
I thought I'd seen that character before, but maybe not.
I don't remember. That's a great question.
Yeah, I think the character was in the first Avenger.
Okay.
All right. So,
But it was a different actor.
well, I wanted to get into this, Andy. At the top, you said you had some opinions about some of the science and stuff in here. So what?
Well, I'm not sure
Specifically
exactly
the ant science,
The
right?
ant science. Let's get into what his powers are.
Okay.
And if those powers are just the fact that he's small but still has the mass that he had as a full-size person, or if the powers come from the suit. Because if the powers, at some point they explain how he's so dense because he's still the weight of he's 200 pounds packed into this tiny thing, so he packs like the punch of a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
If that's true, he's climbing up Michael Pena's shoulder and he doesn't notice. No, that would be a 200-pound person on your shoulder bringing you to the ground. Or he'd be so actually dense he would just go straight through your skin as he went through all the floors in that first scene. Like in that scene when he first puts on the suit and then like crashes through floor after floor in the building where on the top there's an apartment, the floor below there's a nightclub, then below that there's another apartment.
Well, the suit has a mass density regulator.
Okay. Let's get into it. Yeah, I didn't
just
know
made
that there.
that up.
Oh, all right, asshole. There you go. I was like,
But
really? I guess I missed
it
that.
has to have something like there'll be some
Right.
explanation like that.
Yeah, I guess I'm not quite sure. Is he also when he's full size? Is he stronger than he used to be? Is that just because of the training, or is there a power he has with the suit? when
No,
he's
the
full
suit
size?
doesn't. The suit doesn't give him any size. Basically it's a shrink suit and also allows him to communicate with ants.
Right.
So, but it was all the badass training was to give him the extra strength.
Now I did this podcast with Sean Merrick, our former intern, and his wife Jen. I did the show called, it's a very funny podcast by the way, called Worst Collection Ever, and we recorded it at the Comic Book store in Manhattan Beach, and they bring out really bad issues. Like we read this issue of The Defenders with all this horrible dialogue in it. So I'm in there perusing, and I saw like early issues of Ant-Man from like, I don't know, probably the 40s or 50s or something like that, when everything was atomic. You know what I mean? When everything was atomic. And I was thumbing through it because I didn't realize Ant-Man was that old of a character.
It's one of the original Avengers.
One of the original Avengers.
Yeah, okay.
So, but it was, and I was like, oh, okay, I need to, and I had already seen the movie, and I was thumbing through it, and I was like, yeah, it just, why this character for me never held up. And I see a lot of people online were like, loved Ant-Man. I don't know what you're talking about, Graham. Like, I'm clearly in the minority on this film.
And I will say the same thing too. I never liked the character in the comics, and even like the Wasp. I never really kind of gelled with that whole dynamic and those in the as far as them being in the Avengers. But that being said, I love what they did with it in the movie. I actually I liked the movie more than I actually liked the comic book character.
Oh, that's interesting. I think to me, and again, this just comes down to a personal taste thing. I just never got that into the character, so it was hard for me to even make the leap. And as we talked about on the regular episode with Emily V. Gordon, I thought Tobey Maguire did a better job in the first Spider-Man movie of playing the sort of dorky, unwilling hero who then, when he realizes who he is, has this, as we said, gravitas. And Paul Rudd it's just too jokey for me.
Well, I think they played that up a little bit too. I think that was kind of like them trying to distinguish this character from those other characters, like from Spider-Man and like the arcs that we've already kind of seen. And it, again, it's an emotional reaction. You either bought it or you didn't. And it was one of those things where we had to get the origin story out of the way. Yeah. Now we're done. Now what are we going to do with this character next, other than be comic relief in a darker film with Captain America? So I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I bought it. I think it's an interesting take on the hero. The other thing too is because you've got this grizzled older hero that's the mentor. Is like, this is, he was more of like the no humor, no nonsense guy, and here's kind of like the opposite of like the next quote generation of heroes. And so we'll see how it plays out. It was great to see Michael Douglas in this movie, though. I thought he did fantastic. Oh, I wanted to bring up, I know we were talking about like the de-aging and the techniques and stuff.
Yeah,
and
that first scene
was amazing.
And with well, one of the fans tweeted an article because they kind of go into it, and Wall Street was one of the references for
grabbing his skin or whatever.
Well, no, they didn't. I mean, they used it as reference to look at, but they didn't necessarily like grab the footage or anything.
Yeah.
But they went into really interesting things where it's not just the tools to de-age someone on film that have improved; it's the actual artists doing it. Like they've learned more about how to do it. Everything from changing the structure of the face to the size of the ears, like things like that, all create this de-aging process. And it's a fascinating read. I mean, if you Google it, just how Michael Douglas was de-aged.
It's usually they usually just packed on makeup,
right?
And gave him a bad wig or whatever,
or it was bad
kept trying to
CG,
find
like the last
seams, sort of,
right?
Like see where it stops being CG.
Like the last
mouth was real. The mouth was the current age mouth. I feel like you could tell kind of the age in his sort of teeth and lips.
Right, because the last Tron movie looked. Oh, I can see the seams.
Yeah.
But this one was seamless, really, and it's only going to get better from there. And it's also, and I share the director's opinion that the process and the technology is terrifying. It really is, because you're wondering, like, well, at one point, do you not even need Michael Douglas at all anymore.
Right.
You just put a young Michael Douglas in the movie without him, computer
Well, now
generated.
you can just take those, you see those ads for those testosterone pills, and the
Yeah.
guys are ripped, and then they just laser up your face, and you're going to be able to live forever.
By the way, he's getting slower and slower. He speaks so slowly now and weirdly deliberate. Like, was he always that weird of an actor as far as his cadence? Michael Douglas?
He definitely had some health issues.
Okay, yeah.
But,
I know he's battling health. No, he was.
I thought he did great in the movie.
I liked him in the movie too. I like, he does. Michael Douglas is good casting in terms of like, look, kid, let me show you how it. I'm the kind of cagey, fought outside the system.
It's like Robert Redford in Winter Soldier.
But on the good side. So I want to talk about too the fight scene between Falcon and Ant-Man because I really like Anthony Mackie as Falcon. I did like seeing him in the movie, but here's what that scene did for me.
First of all, let's just say I'm glad they dropped the name Black from Falcon.
It
used to be
Black.
It used to be Black Falcon.
Yeah. Now it's just Falcon.
Now it's just Falcon.
I think that fight scene was cool, and that I love that Falcon is. Obviously they're going to have an Avenger on guard duty with their super secret facility, which is great, and that's a great way to get these worlds to merge. But it's when I went, oh yeah, that's what a cool superhero is like. Like I just kind of I can't picture that scene with Falcon, and then the teaser at the very end between Captain America and Falcon made me go, God, I don't see Ant-Man. I see Ant-Man. I see Paul Rudd's Ant-Man just sticking out like a sore thumb. And again, this might be, people listening might be like, what are you talking about? I love Ant-Man. Paul Rudd was great. It might just be I just can't get on board with the Ant-Man character.
Right.
And again, I like Paul Rudd. This isn't me like slamming him. I just don't think this was his, like, he needs to play the boyfriend of a female superhero. You know what I mean? Who's just, like, I don't.
It's like Keanu Reeves as Macbeth.
Well, now that's an insult to Paul Rudd. That is a really blatant, flagrant insult to Paul Rudd. But what did you guys think of the Falcon fight?
You know
scene?
what? I actually liked it, and I'll tell you why. It's funny. I'm liking it for the same reasons you disliked it, because you have an Avenger and a hero with gravitas. He is a superhero.
He's a superhero.
Yeah. With train. Not only that, but he's had military training.
Yeah, he started as a human hero.
Exactly. Yeah. And then he got, the wingsuit, and he became Falcon. So I like the fact that, he has that confidence, that experience.
He commands the scene.
He commands the scene. And you've got a guy who's new on the scene, who's jokey, doesn't know what he's doing, and has this superpowers. How does he fight someone like that? And basically, he kind of cheats. He just gets small and runs away, and then gets bigger, and and that messes with his suit and stuff. And so I actually liked it for that reason, because he didn't have the gravitas that Falcon did. So I liked that scene.
What did you think, Andy?
Yeah, I think I like the fact that he's comic relief, and I'm okay with that. I was never expecting him to be like more of a heroic hero, but my problems with the movie, and first of all, we never acknowledge the fact that it's kind of shitty that the Black Avenger has to be security guard. Like, come on, what?
Even the robot was busy. Even Vision wasn't there.
But it's more the story that was so slight to me. Like, there wasn't that much to the story. Like, the main thing they're training for the whole time is just a heist where you're kind of like, they probably could do this some other way because she's already on the inside.
I think it was deliberately lightened and made smaller. This film. I think it was really intentional.
Yeah, and like it's only the very end that the bad guy even dons the yellow jacket suit. Yeah, and then even in that scene, I hate to be all about the technical stuff of what the powers are, but like I wasn't sure whether I'm rooting for them to be small or big. I'm like, which version can they fight better in? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like
that's a legitimate complaint though, because I did have some like, wait, huh? And if that's a problem, if I have
just establish the rules and then stick to the rules you create. Those can be fantastical rules that are nothing to do with the real world, but then just create your world and stick to it.
Right.
Right.
It did seem like I was confused as to what.
Well, and this is like, you wonder if there's like an extra scene that they took out, or like that explains more how the suit works. Well, the helmet controls your density and your mass, so you could make it small.
If they got that scene, in the director's cut, put that in and cut out one of the dumb where him and Evangeline Lilly are fighting or not during his training. Like, just have him fucking train and do it.
Yeah.
Like,
also, they
More
never,
training, less complaining.
yeah, bitch, get after it. Let's go.
Hashtag.
Yeah.
more training, less
More
complaining.
training, less complaining.
They also alluded to the thing that Michael Douglas said, where if you shrink without the helmet, it's going to mess with your brain. When the bad guy, I forgot his name, he starts to go crazy. Like it's
Yellow
having, it's
Jacket.
taking its toll. The real guy's name, though, I forgot his actual character. Doesn't matter.
Oh.
Before he's Yellow Jacket, and he's going crazy.
Baddie guy McScientist.
Baddie guy McScientist, and someone says
Corey Stoll.
Corey
as
Stoll.
Darren Cross.
Yeah, Cross, that's right, because he changed the name from Pym to Cross. When they were like, it's taking its toll on your brain, it's like, oh, that implies he's been doing it to himself. He's been shrinking himself, and we haven't seen that at all. Like, I could have seen some of that kind of stuff. I could have seen him, like, wreaking havoc somehow, or there being more, the stakes being a little higher. Even though we know, theoretically, his technology could destroy the world. Oh, and also, oh my God, the scene when he shows the investors the ad for what this technology can do, and it's just like super villainy left and right, like assassinations of world leaders, like an homage to like all the horrible police brutality that's in the news these days. Like, he's showing how his technology will allow these horrible things. And he turns out like, huh? What do you guys think? Like, who cut this together? Like, there was an editor working on this. Like, I'm making a Nazi propaganda movie right now. The sub movie. The person who had to edit that. How is he not like, boss? Quick question: when you had the thing shooting the guy at the office chair in the back of the head, like, was he a super bad guy? Like, how do we know?
P.S. Please don't shriek me into goo.
Yeah. So I'd love to see the bad guy play around with his badness some more. I'd love to see some more fun and games moments when Paul Rudd finds these powers and uses them in fun. Like the way in any superhero movie, you discover the powers and you go out and have some fun with it. And the audience gets to, like, all we had for that was that scene where he just crashes through the floor, the nightclub, the record player. But there wasn't a lot of like
You've got
exploring
a bathtub,
what.
you've got ants, and there was a lot. I thought there was enough of that.
No, there wasn't.
You don't think there was? You could have been more playing around with the powers.
Yeah, well, I think
Interesting.
I
Okay.
wanted to see again. I keep comparing this to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man when he had that and discovers the powers, and then goes out and is a little like gets a little drunk on the power a little bit and like, oh, this is awesome, and I'm going to impress girls or whatever.
Well, to be fair though, he didn't have a teacher. He didn't have a mentor that was kind of steering him. Like, here's what it does. Here's what you do, whereas he was kind of discovering him on his own.
Yeah, but again, wouldn't you, once you found that out, wouldn't part of you go, holy shit, this is fucking awesome? Even if you were like an unwilling...
You would still go home and play with the ants.
Yeah,
sure.
come on, man. Like, you'd be like, well, I'm going to go...
You know what would have been a good scene now that you mention that? It's like because he doesn't have the gravitas as like a hero, he would like kind of do something stupid with like make like an ant circus or something like that. That would be like
so
a funny
they make
scene.
this very two-dimensional, over-the-top dick stepdad played by the guy that's always the dick in every movie. Wouldn't you get the ant suit and fuck with that guy? The guy that's trying to take over his turn your daughter against you? Like, wouldn't that have been a funny scene?
You have ants carry him away or something.
Yeah.
Whatever, or just knock him out in his sleep, or do some clever, because that's also, I'm assuming, why you cast Paul Rudd is he's not a gravitas badass. They're doing it intentionally, like you said. The thing that why you liked the fight scene with Falcon is he isn't this traditional hero.
Right.
He is fresh out of prison. He is sort of an unwilling hero. So then wouldn't he kind of abuse his power a little bit and go, I'm going to fuck with some people? That's what they should have done.
Yeah.
I think so.
Because like, there's so much, if you had the power to shrink things, like, I almost feel like shrinking a person is the least of what you would do with that power. Like, there's so much you could control the world through all these things that they didn't explore at all with that kind of
But
technology.
now you knew that tank keychain was going to be an actual tank.
I didn't see it early on. I didn't notice it earlier.
Oh,
so.
yeah. Like, there was like a couple insert shots of him grabbing. So I'm like, that's going to be a real tank later.
I think they could have done
liked.
more with that.
Yeah.
And I think the Corey Stoll character and that propaganda footage that Andy's talking about is, again, another reason where I was kind of checking out of this film. Again, I didn't hate it. There were some cool moments, but I was like, this felt like a movie that was like these new Spider-Man movies that feel like, oh, this is so not in the Marvel universe.
Right.
I felt like this one was one of those.
Not even in the Spider-Man universe.
Yeah,
These
just
last two.
like if there was.
Oh, no, that's interesting. I didn't feel that way. I just felt it was a different type of movie. But you felt it was detached from the universe?
Right, because he was so obviously bad guy, and here's my bad guy, promo film, and it was so like, like Robert Redford's Hydra character, it was like, oh God, he's subtly evil.
Yeah.
He's
You
believed it,
powerful.
yeah.
You believed it.
Yeah, when
'cause
you
it's-
compare those two bad guys, it's not the same
If
kind
there
of
is,
movie.
I would say if there is the one weak link, I would say it was the villain where that wasn't really developed enough. Like there could have been a little more. There.
That's why I felt like it was like a kid's villain, a kid's movie.
It's
villain.
like the Incredible Hulk, not the Ang Lee one, which I thought was a pretty forgettable movie. The Ed Norton,
right.
where Sarsgaard wasn't it Sarsgaard? Who
Yeah.
was the other? Yeah, like that. That's a similar bad guy.
Well,
to me.
let me put it this way: no one talks about that movie either.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think this movie is equivalent to that Incredible Hulk movie, which is to say it's watchable, but like it's not like the first Iron Man to me is still like the gold standard of these.
I don't know. Iron Man 2.
Really?
Wait, no. What was the
3?
3. Yeah, I'm thinking of 3. I
that
forgot.
the
See, I already
Shane
forgot
Black
about
one?
2 already.
Is that the Shane Black one, the third one? The guy that did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy are my two
Oh,
favorites.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah.
I think those
yeah.
are still my two favorites out of all of
And
them,
that's
even the Avengers
that's
movies.
another great example of, Chris Pratt is brought in, for comic relief. He's a sitcom guy, but it still felt to me more believable than Paul Rudd
Yeah.
doing that. Like
Interesting.
Chris
Okay.
Pratt, all jokes, hilarious jokes, and not that Paul Rudd didn't have funny moments. There's just a couple where I was just like, and here part of it is, and this is I think if Ant-Man was just these other movies didn't exist, I probably would have liked it more. But if you're going to put it in this Avengers
Yeah.
world, I have to compare it to all of this Iron Man 1, 3, Guardians, Winter Soldier. I got to put it in all these amazing
Yeah.
films.
And there's another power we haven't seen yet, too. I mean, the suit actually makes him grow large, too. Like he could become a giant. That's,
Also,
we
he has
didn't see that.
those trump card discs. Like those could have ended so many conflicts instantly.
Right.
They weren't used very much. And like those things just beat everything. Basically, that's like the dynamite when your rock scissors papering. Like you can't use that. That's
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. I want this to be better. The next one, I want it to be better. When he's in an Avengers movie, I want it to be like, oh, cool.
yeah.
Like the last Avengers movies, they're bringing in, like they do in those comics, there'd just be an issue where these lesser known heroes would just be in, and you go, oh, that's cool that they were in a couple pages of this.
Right.
Yeah.
So I hope it works out. I hope they kind of figure it out, but I just felt like,
Well, they're expanding the universe, too, with these secondary characters. Like, obviously Daredevil's a much better known character,
Right.
but you also have, Iron Fist, who's not a hugely known character, that he's getting a show. And, we'll
Oh.
see how many of these actually resonate and how many, if any of them don't. Like right now, it's, it's a pretty good streak.
and I'm not saying that everything needs to be dark.
And we don't
Like
need,
Daredevil,
and
I'm not saying that.
we don't need to see every hero either. There's a
just
million
'cause you read it.
characters.
Yeah.
We don't need to see all of them. And I think sometimes there's a rush to introduce new ones when we don't need that rush. Concentrate on the ones that you've already introduced. Like
Yeah.
I will say, the last Avengers movie got too crowded. There was too many new characters being introduced.
Yeah.
And, you've already got plenty. You don't
Yeah.
need all these new ones. But all in all, I think I like the movie better than you guys did. But I did really enjoy it, and you guys didn't hate it.
Didn't hate-
So
no,
that's
no.
so that's good. I hope we don't get to the point where we see a Marvel movie. They're like, "Oh, that was awful." Like, I hope we
I
don't
know.
get that Ghost Rider
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, I know.
hope.
I don't want to go back to the 90s with
No.
Marvel.
Yeah.
No, we want to see a watchable Punisher or a Ghost Rider in something. Or
Are you
know.
optimistic about Fantastic Four?
No, well, that's again not Marvel.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was Marvel.
It is.
Jeez.
It's Marvel.
Oh,
but
it's
they
not
don't-
Marvel Studios.
Not
It's-
Marvel
yes,
Studios.
yes,
Yeah. So no, it looks awful. You mean Fantastic Four babies?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I
I'm
love
not.
Miles Teller. I think he's
But
a really
not
good-
as Mr. Fantastic.
Not as Mr.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm going out of the movie like, okay, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Any other scenes you guys want to talk about with this?
No, I think we covered. We pretty much covered it. But yeah, it was. I thought it was a good fun time at the movies. And then one
It was
thing
fun.
we had said before is like it was really a forced PG-13. It could have been a PG movie.
They should have
easily.
done that.
Yeah.
They should have
yeah.
just said kids movie.
Right, and then I think what they would have been scared of the marketing. Then older people would have
Yeah.
gone to see it. So,
Yeah.
Right.
but
It's not doing that well, right?
No, it's doing well. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I thought it-
but
yeah.
again, it's Pixar doesn't have that problem. There's no PG-13 Pixar movies. They're all PG. But
Yeah. There was
plenty of people went to see Inside Out that didn't have kids.
When I saw Ant-Man, the theater next to me had like a 10:50 p.m. screening of Inside Out. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and there'll be a lot of people in it. It'll
Yeah,
be
yeah.
the people that don't want to see it with the kids.
Yeah,
And they
Ant-Man's
go,
done fine. It's its estimated budget on IMDb is 130 million. So far, its gross has been about 114.
Oh,
but that's
all right.
as of July 28.
And isn't that domestic too?
Yeah, that's domestic. So
it's fine.
It's
Yeah.
making money. So we're going to see this character again.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's happening.
Marvel, the way they set it up, if they're going to spend that much time and energy and money on a character, something egregious has to happen for them to go, you know what, you're not going to see this character anymore.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And again, looking forward to the next Marvel movie. And I'm really looking forward to Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
I'm really excited about Doctor Strange. Benedict Cumberbatch is gonna be in it.
Cumberbunny. Benny Cumbo.
But it's a character I've always kind of liked, so I'm really interested in seeing what they do with it.
All right. Well, that's our spoiler ep 35. Ant-Man. Put it in the books. Chris leads the pack as the guy who likes the movie.
Indeed.
And that's our episode. Andy Wood, where can people find you on the internet?
I'm at Andy T. Wood on Twitter and AndyTwood.com, probably science.com for my podcast, and of course LAPodfest.com for the festival that we all work on and are performing in.
Yeah, LAPodfest.com. Of course, the live video streams are up and running. So you can buy you can't see it, but you can buy them. You can save $5 off using coupon code CFN or coupon code
Science.
You spending money is up and running.
Yeah. That's what's up and running. And of course, that $20 gets you all 40-some shows and panels and everything all weekend. And of course, live, hard tickets are there as well. So.
Oh, and that's also how the shows get paid, by the way, too. Like if you use their code, that's how they get paid. So.
Yeah. So that's how we track it, and that's how we can see how each podcast. And I know some of you are like, "Oh my God, it's hard to pick just one." I don't know, pick your favorite or pick the show that you think needs the money the most or whatever. They're getting a little each time you use that coupon code, they're getting a little percentage of that money, and the shows can potentially walk out with some decent cash. So, check that out. All right. So that's our show, episode 35. My name is Graham Elwood.
And I'm Chris Mancini. And as always, remember,
Han shot first.